Hey everyone, it's Anthony here for our jumping lesson this week. Before we begin, I wanted to talk about this photo of Chip and I on cross country a few years ago to analyze a basic jumping position. So the first thing I want to look for in a jumping position is a very secure leg. And what I mean by that is when we watch people jump, we want to see that their legs stay very close to their girth, signifying that they have a very strong base of support and that they're in a good balance. If you see here, I'm very close to my saddle. I'm practically touching it, so I'm not very far off his back, but my shoulders are still forward just in front of his wither. My hands are up in front of his shoulders, allowing him to use his neck and shoulder to reach and get a nice shape over the fence. And if you look from his bit to my elbow is a perfectly straight line. And what that means is I'm demonstrating an automatic release. So again, I'm not using his neck for support, but I'm allowing him to really reach with his shoulder to get that nice shape there. So here we have a slightly different position. Our positions in cross country and show jumping are going to differ a little bit. But again, my leg is very close to that girth. My heel could be a little bit lower, but it still is very secure in there. My hips are reaching back for the cantle, so the back of the saddle there. And again, I have a straight line from his bit to my hands here. My hands are not reaching quite as far forward, so this means I have a short automatic release. Another release would be a crest release, where my hands are up on his neck rather than at the side, and both are totally correct, right? So here we have our first video coming in here. This was last week, and I'm just going to play this in real time. We just have some warm-up fences, so I'm just trying to take them out of stride. And what that means is that I don't want to be adjusting his balance too much in front of the fence. Since they're warm-up fences, I want to see how he can just adjust himself and make himself be careful without too much of my help, because these fences are quite small for warm-up. So we'll do this in slow motion and we'll analyze each of these. So here I have a good solid pace coming into this line here. It is a 4-stride to a 5-stride. Right? And since I know the distance, I just want to stay out of his way and not worry too much about the balance. My shoulders are a little bit too far forward here, so I get a little bit too close to his neck with my upper body, but my leg stays very secure. And my main goal is to just stay with him here, keep that nice balance, and I want him to take responsibility for the fence just while we're warming up, right? I'll adjust him more later, but this is a better screenshot of my position here. My upper body's back up off his neck. Here I'm coming into my full seat. And there I'm waiting for him to come up, so my upper body doesn't get quite so close to his neck. That tends to be a habit of mine. I tend to lean a little bit too much over the fence with my upper body, right? So it's something that we all make mistakes when we ride, but as long as you can keep an eye on it, right, and you're aware of it, then you can improve on it, okay? So here we have a little gymnastic to start. This is actually quite tricky here. So we have 2 bounces, 1 stride to a skinny triangle, 1 stride to a very wide oxer. So let's slow this down because that wasn't very pretty, and we'll talk about why that was. So we get a nice pace coming in here. The bounces just kind of take care of themselves, and then he gives me an awkward jump over that skinny, which gives me a weird jump here. He takes off quite long. So my position's a little bit compromised and he takes down that rail, right? So obviously we have to do that one again. Nice bounce coming in. The bounces are good. Solid jump over that middle fence, and therefore he gave me quite a nice ride to the last. So let's slow this down. So there I'm holding my galloping position. I don't want to move my body around too much. Nice ride there. And then there he makes quite a nice shape. My hands could be a little bit more forward. My heels could be a little bit further down there, but I'm not too worried, right? I stayed in a good balance and I allowed him to use his body. So these fences here I want to take out of stride. So I don't want to adjust. There he's on the incorrect lead. We can see that because his outside front leg was the last one to hit the ground, right? Really taking my time in this turn here. It's a big rollback. And now we're coming to quite a large fence, so I have to ride strong into this. So good forward ride over the watermelon, right? I'm eyeing that next fence because it's quite skinny. Now, unfortunately, Chip doesn't quite see it and gets a bit of an awkward jump, but he cleared it. But we want to tidy that up. So there I My eye is locked onto that skinny fence, and I'm not taking my eye off of it at all, right? There, Chip just didn't quite see it until the last second, and he, what we would call, bunny hopped over it. He did a nice job because that skinny fence is 3.5 feet tall, so it's not very short. Of course, we want to redo that. So we got a little close to that first one, close my leg, get him out of stride here. He's on the correct lead. That inside front is the last one to hit the ground. All right, so he's on the correct canter lead there. Gets his lead change over the fence. Again, since this is quite a large fence, we want to take our time in our turn and then ride forward to it. Don't back off of a big fence, right? Gives them that nice ride into it. And here he read it quite a bit better. He got a little bit close to the base there, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to see how careful he would be. Again, strong ride, and then he's got to come back, right? So you would never see a question like that at a show, but it's very good to school. So here his weight is too much on his front legs, and at the last second he just couldn't get his legs out of the way, right? We would like to see him loading more weight on those hind legs so he can be a little bit more agile over the fence. So there he just didn't quite come back in time, okay? So lock onto that fence, close my leg, close the rein, shift that weight back. Beautiful jump, okay? Now we jump the watermelon backwards, so very strong ride to this because it's quite an odd looking fence, right? You would never jump a fence like that at a horse show, but it is really, really good to school. Strong ride to a triple bar here. This is just very big oxer. 5 strides down to a 1 stride, so it is a vertical to a square oxer, right? And these fences are now getting quite big, so I need to ride him forward, but I also want to support him at the base. So we slow this video down here. Now I'm going to be sinking into my full seat now, and then I'm up off his back, hands come forward into a release. Notice how my leg stays by the girth, right? So my heel might not be as far down as I'd like, but I'd rather have my heel up a little bit and my legs stay very solid than to have it the other way around with my heel down perfectly but swinging back by his tail, right? So there my hands come forward, very secure position. And here I'm in my half seat approaching this fence, right? And then I think the last stride here, yep, I sink into my full seat and then keep my upper body back for this 1 stride. So keep my weight off of his shoulders, right? Because if we're in a 1 stride where it's quite tight and we lean forward, it puts too much weight on his front legs, and that's where they'll knock down a rail, as we saw with the skinny fence. Okay, so I want to keep my leg on here, very forward in the turn, and then forward to this large fence. 3, 2, 1. Good, locking onto that skinny, and I do not take my eye off the skinny at all. Good, he had quite a nice ride. He got a little bit tangled up, but he got himself out of the way, and he returned to a nice balance, so I didn't want to redo that. Forward ride to this oxer, shoulders back for the vertical. Here I'm in my half seat again, and then now that's my full seat there, right? I want to think of shifting that weight to those hind legs, going to quite a large, it's about a 4-foot triple bar there. And it's very wide. So the wider the fence, the longer you have to hold your 2-point. So remember, shoulders back here to that 1 stride. And then I'm in my half seat, right? But he tossed his head. He knows I'm trying to change his balance, bring that weight back. And there we go. Hold that 2-point over that fence. So he gave me quite a nice ride. There's always stuff that we could change with our position or our ride, but overall, very solid ride.